Yeah, so thank you very much. From the global movement of local and regional governments, we believe that inequalities have been tolerated for very long, that our model of growth and development has included people that have been put in very vulnerable positions. And as global movements, what we are trying to say is we need to develop a new social contract that puts care at the heart of policy development, that transforms individual policies into collective policies where local service provision has a very important role to play. And what we mean by saying that we need to avoid sectors is that you cannot consider housing to be just a part of policy. It needs to be at the core of policy. You cannot empower women if they don't have the right housing. You cannot do local economic development if the people that need to work in those environments do not have proper housing. And that is the case for most of the policies. The way that we manage time, there is great inequality in what time means for different types of people, living in different parts of the city. So what we are advocating for is a new social contract where the needs of communities are put up front before sovereign interests, before other interests, where communities can articulate where their priorities are, where care is public policy. And by putting care at the center, not only caring for each other, but also caring for the planet and caring for government, you can address many of the challenges that we have today, including that unknown, which will be the new information society and the way that artificial intelligence is going to be affecting jobs. Actually, by doing this, you are addressing the role of people in the future. People not seen as productive machines, but people seen as full of agency, free beings that are creative. And that's where the jobs need to be. You know, when I talk to many bankers around the world all the time, and they tell me about the billions that are available, and the only reason they don't reach cities is because cities are not ready, they don't have the capacity to manage, the projects that they are proposing are not the right ones. You know, they ask us to help develop the pipeline of projects. Look, what we are saying is, if cities present these projects, those projects need to be considered the right ones. You have the problem. We don't. Communities know what they need. Their priorities need to be taken into account. And what we're saying is, financing by itself is not enough. You actually need to finance that part of the public transport that might not have an immediate financial return, because they are servicing people that are in vulnerable positions, that live far away, that might not generate that immediate financial return, but that generate a huge social return. So when we are talking about finance, we're talking about the instruments. Cities need to be able to borrow. Cities need to be able to be to develop blended finance. There need to be municipal bonds. The whole scheme of financing from national government to local governments around the world needs to change. But we also need to change the criteria of what we consider bankable. And that's what we're talking about. And part of this communique of the Urban 20 is built around that. The good thing about Urban 20 is Urban 20 is a perfect vehicle to talk with very symbolic cities around the world, all these capital cities that trigger our imagination in terms of millions of inhabitants. They have a very important role to play with the great nations that sit at the table of G20. But what is perfect about it is that Urban 20 is actually linked with existing networks, with the global municipal movement that is going to continue talking with the United Nations, with the banking institutions, with the learning institutions to develop the capacity and the global agenda. So that's how the recommendations continue, and that's how we reach the broader public. Hopefully someday people will know, people in the street will know that the global municipal movement made a difference for them as well.